Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're listening. Jack Carter here. Grab a brew before we get into the details. Right, let's start with a simple question. Where was the king this Easter? I mean, really? No personal Easter message from King Charles III, not a word from the sovereign, who, by office and by history, is the head of our church. Meanwhile, this year we had a very public, very vocal royal presence during Ramadan observances.
Assalamu alaikum. Ramadan Mubarak. Ladies and gentlemen, as Muslims across the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth begin preparations to celebrate Eid after fasting for the holy month of Ramadan, I just wanted to convey my heartfelt best wishes to all who celebrate this festival, and to tell you just how much my wife and I are thinking of you at this special time of year. This last year, I know, has been deeply challenging for us all, and I'm only too aware of the impact of the pandemic on the Muslim community. This year, so many families, like my own, will have an empty seat at their dinner table, and friends are no longer able to share the celebratory hug after Eid prayers.
Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't recognize other faiths. Of course we should. But there's something important at stake when the supposed defender of the faith falls quiet. Right. Well, a very important thing at stake when the supposed defender of the faith falls quiet. Look, let's be blunt. The title, Defender of the Faith, is not a decorative flourish. It's constitutional, symbolic, centuries deep. When the monarch goes quiet on Easter, the central festival of Christianity, and is markedly present for another faith's calendar, many decent, law-abiding Christians feel overlooked. They feel their institutions, their rights, their history are being deprioritized. That feeling matters. It matters to national cohesion, to trust in the crown, to the idea that the head of state honors the role he accepted. You see, this isn't about being anti-inclusive. It's about duty. Now, let me step back and say something about Charles himself. Over the years, he's shown a wide, genuine interest in other cultures and religions. Islamic architecture, Sufi poets, even studies in comparative spirituality. People have applauded his learning, but there's a difference between curiosity and preference. He has increasingly talked about faiths in the plural, often celebrating interfaith dialogue, which is fine. But when the language of the sovereign tips from the faith to faiths, when actions follow that tilt, it feeds a public perception that the monarchy's primary custodianship of the Church of England is being relabelled, downgraded even. Freedom. Freedom as a cowardice. A symbol of 100 years of covenant being relabelled, downgraded even. An abject horror for me. Quick history lesson, short and sharp. Defender of the faith goes back to Henry VIII. It's been part of the crown's identity for centuries. The monarch is effectively supreme governor of the Church of England. That's not pure ceremony. It's constitutional symbolism that connects the sovereign to the spiritual life of the nation. When Christians don't hear a personal word from their monarch on Easter, it's not just feelings, it's an institutional silence that echoes. It raises a question. Does the sovereign still see himself as the guardian of this established church, or is he quietly redefining the role? Is he stepping back? Now, let's be practical. Trust, that's the currency here. People trust institutions that behave in predictable, honourable ways. If the Crown appears to favour one set of observances over another, the trust of the many who identify with the Church diminishes. I'm not exaggerating. You can hear it in parish halls, in pubs, in family conversations. If he won't speak to us at Easter, why should I bend an ear to him at coronation oaths or national rites? That little seed of doubt grows. It breeds cynicism. And for a system that runs on consent and reverence rather than force, cynicism is dangerous. Short version: balance matters. By the way, let's talk about visibility. The monarchy provides visible leadership in times of national joy and sorrow. That visibility reassures. When that compass needle swings and does so without clear explanation, people who lean on it are disoriented. If you are someone who has attended church all your life, who teach children the Christian calendar, who sees Easter as the hinge of our civilization, you will not take kindly to silence. And this is not just a sentimental point, it's about social cohesion. And yes, I know, some will say, Jack, Britain's diverse. The king must reach out to all communities. Fine, inclusion is necessary. But inclusion is not a license to erase priority. The Crown has duties carved into law and custom. You don't quietly swap those out without conversation. You don't modernize by omission. If the role is being reinterpreted, explain it. Bring the church with you. Don't leave congregations guessing. Let's address the very public royal support for Ramadan. Because people will say, but the king was present for Muslim events, wasn't it? Yes, he was visible, engaged, empathetic. That's all well and good. But the problem isn't that he attended, it's that attendance seems uneven. Symbolic acts have meaning. When the sovereign is prominent in one community's calendar and silent in another's key festival, ordinary people read a message into that, rightly or wrongly. Perception becomes reality in public life. Listen, there's also the international angle. The Anglican Communion stretches across the Commonwealth and beyond. If the head of the church appears to neglect its central festivals, what message does that send to Anglicans overseas? It could suggest a diminishing of the Crown's religious leadership, and that's a diplomatic and spiritual problem, not merely a domestic gripe. Short, sharp. Implications are broad. Now, I won't pretend there isn't nuance. The king might have private pastoral reasons, meetings with clergy behind closed doors, sensitivity to local circumstances, or health issues. Maybe there were private prayers, private visits. Maybe His Majesty felt quiet dignity was preferable. Fine. But the very point of a sovereign's public observance is to be seen offering reassurance. Private acts don't provide the same communal comfort when parishioners are looking for a public sign. So, what do we do about it? First, ask for clarity. The palace owes the public an explanation if the role is being reinterpreted. Simple. Second, hold the institution to its standards, politely, persistently. Write to your MP, write to the diocese, put the question to your local vicar. Third, keep living the faith openly. Attend your services, teach the calendar, show by example why these traditions matter, not in anger, but in steady conviction. And another point. People in the pews aren't asking for triumphalism nor intolerance. They're asking for recognition. A short Easter address, a public blessing at a service, a walk to a cathedral service. These are modest expectations from the person who represents continuity. If you want to modernize, do so with the nation at your side. Don't modernize by omission, by simply not speaking at key moments. Speak up. Before we go, I want to hear from you. Did you miss a personal Easter message from the King? Were you hurt, indifferent, or relieved? And one last thing, keep the faith, literally and figuratively. This crown, if it to endure, must be seen to defend what it was made to defend. Thanks for listening. See you next week.